Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and welcome to another Adorama Picks Rapid Fire Critique, where I take your best 10 photos and give them a critiquey McCritiquerson. And if you haven't checked out Adorama Picks, head on over there right now. That's where I get all of my photo books made, as well as my big ass, big impressive, awesome metal prints. That's where I get them. Now let's get to the critique. Here we have it, Darkroom Photography Final. How's it the darkroom if it's in the computer? Thomas Prettyman? This is my final exam for my darkroom photography class for the fall semester. This is a series about ballet. So let's take a look and see if we have EXIF data for what it was taken with, and we don't because it was Pi Prime Film XE, which I looked up. It is a scanner. Now you see all this stuff here, all these dots that people are going to be say it looks like snow. Right, is it snow? No, it's called grain. It's not actually noise. This is actually film grain. So let me explain to you what film grain is as it pertains to when you are scanning a negative. So when you are scanning a black and white negative, what the scanner is actually seeing is the grain of the film. The silver that is left over on the negative is getting scanned. So when the light hits it, it's bouncing back off the silver, and that's what you're seeing. I absolutely love black and white film. I loved shooting with it. I loved processing it. But in this day and age, when you go ahead and scan it, you can then edit it in the computer, you're going to see film grain, especially when it's with those higher ISO black and white films. And let's get back in here. So first things first, we're setting up for a photo story, and I'm going to critique this as it's in order right now. Do I care about the grain? No. What I care about right here is the angle that the shot is taken at. It's too high. I don't know if he's standing up. This is an angle that you get much lower. It's awesome to see all of these trophies in the background, but I do not need to, way to speak English, Jared. I do not need to see all of these drop ceiling tiles to do a photo story about ballet. Now, in my opinion, I may have let off the first picture with some ballet shoes and some ballet, they're called slippers, Jared. Ballet slippers just sitting there in the middle. Lower angle. I don't want to see anything above this tile right here. Boom. Straight across here, get lower. You're going to show more of the reflections. You're going to show more of this stuff up here, but less of the tiles that are up in the ceiling. And look, they have a disco ball. Moving on, we have a girl. I like girls. I do. Especially ballet girls. They're usually nice and fit. So, do I care about the noise or the grain that I see here? Absolutely not. Nice job getting, see, I can't even comment on exposure. I can only comment on the actual photos, which I know will make some people happy. Being that there's a window to the right, he did a great job getting the person tying up her ballet shoes, or slippers, damn it. Hashtag belly slippers. Sundeep. Anyway, it's a nice photo. I like what's going on here. It's telling the story as if she doesn't even know that you're there and you're capturing this image in black and white. I do see some scratch negatives. You got to be careful about when you are doing this with the photo flow after you develop them, that you are not scratching the emulsion, because that's what it looks like to have a nice huge scratch, a ton of scratches. You need to do a better job not scratching up your negatives. Now, most people don't have to worry about that because they're shooting digital. I like that photo. Ooh, okay, so top-down shot of this. Where the hell are you standing for this, Mr. Thomas Prettyman? It's almost like you are straddling her to get this photo, because unless you're on a ladder, I don't know what you're doing. I don't like this angle. I don't like the feeling of this shot, but I get what you're doing, a first-person perspective of the ballerina getting her slippers, hashtag ballerina slippers, on. Not a big fan of this photo, but as a photo story, it makes sense. Now that I am much more of a fan of. That is much nicer. And will you get clean goddarn negatives? Look at these big ass scratches. Will you fix that, please? Bad scratches, bad dust right here, bad dust right here, bad dust right here. Look, let me just say this. When I was in the darkroom, the one thing that I hated was dust on my negatives. The way that I made sure I didn't get dust is when I was processing them and when I would dry them, I would not put them in the film dryer. The film dryer, which spins around, is not spinning around physically, but it has a fan that spins air around, is throwing dust. Sometimes, especially when people open the door, guess what happens? It sucks dust into it, and then that's why your negatives may get dirty and get that dust in them. Another thing is when you're cleaning it from the photo flow, if you could scratch it up. But what I used to do is when I would put it into the negative carrier, I would have a can of compressed air, I would spray off the negative before it went in, I would put it up top, I'd make sure there was no dust in it, I would put it down, I would take a lens cleaning lens tissue, I would clean the lens, take the lens out on both sides, clean all the other stuff around so I didn't get dust. Why? Because I didn't want to touch it up after the fact, and yes, we had to do tests. Here's a quick story for you. We had a teacher named Booterball, Travis Booterball, Butterball, Booterball, whatever his name was. And he made a negative where he threw a bunch of dust on it, and our job was to touch it up with these touch-up paint or whatever the hell we had to do. It was like watercolors. And I refused to do it. You know what I said? I said, I don't get dust on my negatives, sir. I still think I ended up doing a half-assed job anyway just to get a grade, but I actually don't get dust on my negatives. Anyway, beautiful picture. I love this one. Great tones, great moment captured, much better than this one. Moving on to the next one. It's very nice. Even with the light at her back, you've got some nice light burned in on her face. I hope you're not doing the corrections in the computer. I don't hope that you're not. I just think that the cool part about black and white darkroom final is that you would deliver your prints and you had to do all the prints in the darkroom, not on your computer. I like this angle. It's very nice. The only thing that I feel a little tension with is how close her feet are to the very bottom of the frame. I would bring it down just a smidgen, but I love everything else about it. Twofold. I would also like to see a horizontal of it. I like the vertical. I hope you got a horizontal as well, but I like this image. Another thing you could do is if you did horizontal this way and you threw her off her back to the edge of this frame, you could possibly get her reflection in the mirror to also get a nice, good, usable shot. Up on the toes, that works. I don't mind that it's cut off at the body. I mean, that's a very nice, what are they? Are they called leotards? Ballerina suits? Bathing suit? I mean, it looks like a bathing suit. I've never used it. I should do ballet is what I should do. But I like this shot. I like what's going on. You got her on her toes. You could also do a closer up of her on her toes on the floor. That would be nice. Or a full body stepped back. Or if you didn't have room to step back, I'm going to tell you, you have her move down the line so that you could then step back to get a full body. Okay, there you went with the reflection. This stuff on the edge here is just a scan where the negative wasn't. I'm not sure, is this, oh my God, she's got a nice butt. I wasn't zooming in on her butt. I was zooming in on these reflections. This stuff right here, I'm not sure what that is actually. But you see, oh, snap. I just saw it looks like she's about to spin the fan. So I would be careful about looking that fan. See, you don't see the fan in the reflection here, but it looks like she's about to spin the fan. So be careful about what's in your background, what could be intersecting or cause concern when somebody's looking at the image. In this case, it looks like she's about to spin the fan. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it certainly grabbed my attention and took it away from the rest of the image. So be careful about that, but the exposure's spot on. I like that. I don't like this at all. There's multiple reasons I don't like this. One reason, her foot is way too close to the edge of the frame. Two, way too much grain in her face, noise that you tried to bring back from dodging, which shows me that the exposure was off. When you shoot film, you do not have the same leeway as when you shoot raw and shoot digital. Let me double down on this one. When you shoot film, you have to make sure that your exposures are pretty close to spot on, because if you don't, it's not as forgiving as digital. It's much harder to bring back a film negative than it is to bring back a raw file. And those of you who still shoot slides, if you can get slides anywhere, they're even less forgiving than negatives. Negatives give you a little, like, one-stop latitude in the darkroom to bring it back, whereas a raw file could be 3 to 5 stops depending on how bad you really messed up. So if you are shooting film out there, you better get your exposures pretty darn close, or your images aren't going to look as good because you got your exposures wrong. So you want to make sure that her face isn't dodged out so much and it doesn't look like it's sharp because the focus isn't there. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Same thing, foot way too close to the bottom. I like the action, but I don't like that. You got to be lower. You got to make her look more immense. You got to be further away from this background so that these things aren't distracting. This is where if you have a 35-1/8, a 50-1/8, because I'm assuming it's a film camera, so a 51.8 or something like that could allow you to step back and get a shot like this. This background is more distracting than anything else. Get down low, even if you need to lay on your stomach to get the shot. You need to do that. Moving on. Did I already go back through 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There should have been one more. I like to do 10, not 9. Okay. Very nice job, though, with the exposure. It is not easy to shoot film because you don't get to see the picture after you take it, which means you have to be pretty spot on knowing what your exposure should be when you're there, especially trying to capture motion. I would also like to see some motion images here, slower shutter speeds to get some panning, you know, of like la la la, or do a plie, plie, whatever the hell that is. Anyway, nice job. If you'd like to submit your own 10 best images, try to make them 10 or less, I guess, if they're your best. And you can submit those. The link is down below over on the website. I believe it's bit.ly/frocritique or Fro Critiques. Check it out. There's a link. Or you just click it. One of those works, and you can submit your images. So I thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Adorama Pix Rapid Fire Critique. Don't forget to check out adoramapix.com for all of your print needs. That's all I have to say. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.
Subscribe now. Watch this video.